Good morning, everyone. Welcome back, or welcome to the channel if this is your first time. We're just about done working on the floor here of the shed project. The shed's going to be delivered here any day, so I'm getting under the wire. You know what I've decided is I want some airflow, and this is a change since last time. I want some airflow under the floor because the shed comes with like a metal structure that you adhere plywood to. So I'm imagining there's going to be like a metal framework, and then on top of the metal framework will be plywood. So there's going to be, I want some airflow under there. So I'm actually spacing the stones, and this helps me because I can get a nice smoother edge without having to fudge so much and come up with the exact right measurement of stones, or having to cut any stones. I don't want to do either of those. So this makes it easier for me. And I like that I'm going to be within an inch or so of the edge of the shed, so that in these gaps here, if I need to, I can put like tent pegs or something of that nature just to add some stability. Still have quite a bit of dirt left, as you can see. I'll show you guys what I ended up doing. Like I said, dirt here is a commodity. I always need it to fill in low areas or fix a pathway. So I had to make a new place to put the dirt. That was several hours of work yesterday. Years ago, I had filled in a low spot here with all this kind of mixed colored gravel. So I pulled out all that gravel, built a framework out of granite, as you can see, and put it in such a way that it'll stay up. And anyway, that's where the dirt's going. So stick with me today. I think this video should be the final one as far as getting the floor ready. We don't have that much left to do. We really can't make any progress until we get rid of what remains of the extra dirt. Now we begin the process of, again, I had this all leveled at one point, pretty much, not really tamped down, but close enough. And then I piled the dirt on top of it, and now it's rained a few times, a few days have gone by, so it's a mess again. So we start the leveling process. I think there's still too much dirt here. When some of the dirt is dry and some of it is wet, it really makes it hard to tell what's what. These are the longest parts of the project. I think my glove is about wore out. All the dirt's getting into it. Yep, right there. A constant process of shaving off the high spots, filling in the low spots. Gives you an idea. All right, let's pick this up to full speed and get ahead to where we have the floor all laid down, and we can start the finishing touches for you. Here we are. The floor is actually complete as far as laying the stones go, and I spared you guys the agony of several hours of removing more dirt. I ended up running out of room in the place where I was storing the other dirt, so I had to interject filling in a low spot in the front yard that I knew I was going to have to fill. I wasn't planning on filling it yet, but that ended up being today's project. And even still, my dirt supply is overflowing, but that's good. like I said, we'll end up needing it for something here. If nothing else, it'll be when we raise that other sculpture at some point in the future. So the floor is level. It measures 51 inches by about 10.5 feet. So I'll probably have like 3 inches or so on either end of the shed and an inch or so in the front and back. I tried to keep that at a minimum because, like I said, I want the water to have a place to go. I'm using what I call the poor man's level, which is just a long piece of lumber. I don't know if you can see, it's high in the middle and low on the ends there, and then on the bottom it's the opposite. It's got a slight bow, and yet, so when I lay it on here, that bow is reflected by it resting on the ends and a comparable bow in the middle. And then when I flip it over, see, it rocks a little bit, which is about the amount of bow that it has. So considering I did this by hand, I think we're pretty darn close as far as level goes, and we're ready to do the what I call the fine tuning. What I intend to do is I'm going to take my little spade, or whatever you call my little scoop here, and I'm going to dig out enough of the dirt just so that there's enough of a trench for gravel to fit in. Then I'll take a scissors and cut up what I can of this old weed mat and lay weed mat in there to keep the gravel that I'm going to put there from sinking into the ground. So I'm going to proceed to cut this weed mat right now and get this little area ready for some gravel. I think it's going to look good when it's done. We do everything trying not to spend money and yet trying to have it look good. I may need to spend some money on a new tripod though. This one's getting real slick. Doesn't want to stay in the position that I put it. I think since I do have some weed mat left over, I don't know if I have enough, but since it's actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, I'll go ahead and at least put some back here just to keep the gravel from sinking. Shoot, there's not going to be enough room for much of anything, but I will go ahead and put some back there, and then we'll meet up with you guys again and we'll start the gravel process. Alright, it's almost dark. This will be the last little bit for today. What I plan on doing is that gravel over there is mostly a sorted mix of a little bit of everything. I'm going to put it all here. As far as it goes, I don't think it's going to come very far. Then I have similar gravel over by where I have the dirt piled up. And I'm thinking behind you there along the fence, I have some concrete, little bits of concrete left over from when I tore the deck out. I think that's what's going to go back there so I can finally get rid of that pile. That's how it is around here. There's always piles of this and piles of that, and they end up coming in handy. I made a sculpture out of most of that concrete. I don't know if you remember. Yeah, all the bigger pieces of concrete, which were a lot. It was a mountain. If you guys go back and watch the video series on the deck project, you'll see the mountain of concrete. I built it in such a way that you really can't see much of it. It's covered with these nice larger rocks from the Cache la Poudre River. It's kind of covered in sunflowers right now. But that's the concrete I'm talking about. I want to have river rocks along the fence here, so I'm going to get all this gravel out and put it here. I like to find triangular pieces. Some of these are, that's a pretty good one, and I put them in between the stepping stones because they kind of lock in place and keep things from moving around. And even with the weed mat, the first couple of rains, they'll settle down, they'll pack into place, and they really look nice. There's a particular color that I have over by the sculpture, and this is one of them. It's called Tropic Brown. It's from Saudi Arabia. I want to keep those together just because I have a little more of them. So as I find them, I'll separate them out. Another nice triangle. Lock him in right in there. Quite a few pieces of my Tropic Brown that can go over here. So that's what an airplane sounds like, sped up 5 times, flying overhead. All of the granite gravels that you see in Granite Paradise were made by hand with a hammer and chisel, either by my kids or by myself over the years. And it's mind-boggling to think how long that took, and then to spread it all out. Okay, I think that's about all we're going to be able to see for today. It's getting dark, but you get the idea. I made the door of the shed is going to be like right here. And if the gravel is problematic, I'll put a cut piece of stone in there or something. Before I bring in the final touches, putting the concrete gravel back here and perfecting this gravel here, I want to switch a few of these stones around. This pad is probably 6 inches longer than it needs to be. Remember I said that earlier, that it measures about 10.5 feet. And I want some spaces between the stones so that there's air. But I don't need spaces this big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch at least this stone, maybe both of these out, with these that are quite a bit longer. At least this one. I'll switch that one out. That'll close up this gap, and it'll bring the whole thing this way just an inch or two. If we're gonna get this right, we got to do it now because it's a lot harder once the shed is in place. And I did find a little doorstep I can use. It looks like it's about the perfect measurement. It's one of the broken pieces from here. That way, because I notice when I walk over this, it's kind of uncomfortable. Anyway, last minute details. Well, I think this is a 5-gallon bucket. 5-gallon bucket number 4 out of my other neglected corner of Granite Paradise, where I have still a little mountain of concrete left over from when I tore the deck out. You guys might remember that I had, oh geez, it was a mountain of broken concrete that the previous, or I don't know who, somebody probably back in the 70s, buried their old concrete patio, busted up under the wooden deck. And when I tore out the rotten wooden deck, I discovered all this concrete. And these are the small pieces. The shed's gonna be here, so I don't want to use my beautiful granite gravel back here where nobody's gonna see. So that's why I've been bringing over all the. That way I'm killing two birds with one stone. My concrete pile's shrinking. See, the corner of the shed will be right here, so I want to stop the concrete there. Still have a little bit left. We'll go do over here at the other side. You can see I already filled all this with concrete. Now we just have this last little bit to do. Here we have the fully completed floor pad for my 10-foot by 4-foot shed. This is made of completely reclaimed materials, reclaimed both in the sense that all the granite came from the kitchen countertop granite fabrication industry. In case any of you are watching for the first time, that's where all this material comes from. The concrete gravel in the back came, as I mentioned in the video, from when I tore out our deck a couple of years ago. Even the weed mat is reclaimed from having been used previously here. Anyway, thanks for watching this glorious process. It's been 4 videos. I think each video is about 16 minutes or so long. So roughly an hour of exotic viewing time for you guys of this, what to me has seemed like a very long process, but we're done. Now we just wait for the shed to be delivered. Everything is gray now, but once it rains, this gravel will be all different colors. It's mixed exotic granites and marbles from the stone industry. I need to fill in and get some river rocks there. I have quite a bit left over from what was here before. And don't worry, it'll get used up. Well, thanks for watching, guys. It's been a lot of fun. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Please like, share, subscribe. All that stuff really helps us out. Again, this is video 4. I'll probably skip the actual installation of the shed, just because I kind of need to stay on track with what the channel's about. We're not a shed installation channel, but I did want to film all this because this is the stone part. So probably the next time we'll pick up this series will be when that shed is installed and I start setting up my shop for making stone projects in the shed you're seeing now, which is made of wood and much larger and insulated. God bless you guys. We'll be watching for you on the next one.